On this day, Han Shangyan was about to return from abroad. Tong Nian took a taxi and rushed to the airport in the rain. Soon, she arrived there. At this time, Han Shangyan and the others had returned, accepting questions from reporters. When Tong Nian entered the hall, Han Shangyan had already boarded the bus in advance, and she only saw Wu Bai at this time. Wu Bai said that he just fell behind the big army because he liked being alone. Tong Nian came to the bus and was laughed at by Han Shangyan because of her funny appearance in a green hat, but she was finally called into the bus by Han Shangyan. Solo brought his daughter Xiao Ai to the restaurant and met Su Cheng, the female team leader of KK. Su Cheng was Xiao Ai's mother. But Xiao Ai seemed to be very reluctant to talk to her. It turned out that Su Cheng and Solo broke up for some reason, and Xiao Ai put all the responsibility on Su Cheng, which made her hold a grudge against Su Cheng all the time. Tong Nian returned to the KK team station with Han Shangyan, but she was embarrassed standing at the door. After all, Han Shangyan didn't say to let her in. When hesitating, Han Shangyan, who was walking in front, came back, pulled her in, and told her not to look around casually. Tong Nian had no choice but to follow Han Shangyan's footsteps hilariously. Han Shangyan left again by himself. Tong Nian saw the huge and trendy bass, and her heart blossomed, and she even played a slide with great interest. Seeing that Han Shangyan passed in front of her and was on the phone with someone else, she suppressed her excitement and secretly took a picture of him with her mobile phone in a playful and excited manner. Han Shangyan knew that she must be acting weird, so he called her to him and asked for her mobile phone. Tong Nian had no choice but to say that she had deleted all the photos she had taken secretly just now. At this time, a friend called Tong Nian and asked about the emotional progress between her and Han Shangyan, which made Tong Nian blushed immediately, and was busy making excuses in front of Han Shangyan. Han Shangyan called in all the KK team members. When Dai Feng saw that Tong Nian was coming to the base for the first time, he chatted with her excitedly. Han Shangyan couldn't bear it any longer when he saw it, and immediately called him up and trained him. He also said why the hand speed test Dai Feng took recently was so poor. Dai Feng was dissatisfied when he saw it. After all, his score was not the worst. Han Shangyan asked Wu Bai what his speed was, and his performance was twice as good as that of Dai Feng. This made Dai Feng feel ashamed immediately. Tong Nian asked them inexplicably what the hand speed test was. Dai Feng said that was a software that measured responses by listening, and was used by Han Shangyan to train team members. Tong Nian immediately decided to start developing a more effective software for them. Later, when Tong Nian returned to the dormitory, she rushed to the computer and started developing software. The next morning, Yaya woke up and found that Tong Nian hadn't slept all night. Tong Nian said sleepily, she did it for one night yesterday, and finally made the software. In KK's team, Xiao Ai got angry again in front of Su Cheng, but when Han Shangyan saw it, he hugged her and wanted to accuse her, but Xiao Ai scolded him dissatisfiedly. Su Cheng wanted to take Xiao Ai to the amusement park, but Xiao Ai refused unhappily. Han Shangyan provoked her with words, and she immediately agreed to go. But after thinking about it for a while, she realized that she had fallen for Han Shangyan's trick just now. At this moment, Tong Nian called Han Shangyan and told him that the software was ready now. Han Shangyan drove Xiaoai and Su Cheng into the car, and soon he got out of the car again. At this time, Tong Nian came over and told him that the software was now completely ready. Han Shangyan suggested that she might as well go to the amusement park with him. Han Shangyan and the others came to the amusement park, and Xiao Ai and Tong Nian sat on the carousel. Xiao Ai, a little ghost, cleverly suggested to Tong Nian that she should deliberately create an opportunity for Tong Nian to be alone with Han Shangyan. Soon everyone got on the yacht again, and Xiao Ai and Su Cheng deliberately got on another boat so that Han Shangyan and Tong Nian could stay together. The two boats sailed together on the river. Taking advantage of Han Shangyan's inattention, Xiao Ai took a photo of him and Tong Nian on purpose, which made Han Shangyan very angry immediately, yelling for Xiao Ai to delete the photo quickly, but Xiao Ai was naughty and persistent. When everyone came to the shore again, Xiao Ai and Han Shangyan started fighting, but Xiao Ai refused to delete the photos on her mobile phones. Han Shangyan and Tong Nian went shopping and ate. Xiao Ai sat down clutching her stomach. Su Cheng asked with concern, could it be that she was on her period, and if something happened, she must inform herself. Soon, Tong Nian and the others came back again, planning to go on a roller coaster ride, but Han Shangyan didn't want to participate. Tong Nian, Xiao Ai, and Su Cheng had no choice but to play by themselves. Han Shangyan sat alone in the chair, his heart was heavy, and he was immersed in the memories of the past again. Back then, he and his teammates from the solo team also came to this amusement park and took a roller coaster ride, but the timid Han Shangyan finally ran away and ran to the carousel to escape. Tong Nian and the others came back from playing, very happy, and Xiao Ai jokingly asked Han Shangyan if he ran away because of fear. Han Shangyan yelled at her in dissatisfaction, and was provoked again, ready to start a game showdown with her. Soon the two took out a game console, and it turned out that Han Shangyan was born to be a game master. How could Xiao Ai beat him, and she was quickly defeated. Tong Nian, who was on the side, saw it, became interested, and decided to give it a try, and after a lot of hard work, she got a higher score than Han Shangyan. Now Han Shangyan was so angry that his face turned green. After all, he had never met an opponent before. Han Shangyan and the others finished their tour and drove back. On the way, Su Cheng suggested to Han Shangyan that she thought Tong Nian was very good, so he should think about his relationship with her. Xiao Ai and Su Cheng got out of the car, and Xiao Ai said goodbye to Han Shangyan mischievously. Han Shangyan asked Tong Nian if she needed to take her home, but Tong Nian said that the hand speed measurement software in their team still needed to be debugged for another hour, and she had to go there to deal with it first. In SP's team, Wang Hao told AI Qing that because of Xiaomi's poor performance in the invitational tournament last time, the headquarters already had the idea of removing him from the team. Soon, Xiao Ai and the others came back, and everyone surrounded them. When they saw the photos Xiao Ai took on the amusement park posted on Moments, they couldn't help laughing. It turned out that when they went there with Han Shangyan, he was timid. The timid Han Shangyan just refused to ride the roller coaster. Tong Nian and Han Shangyan returned to the team together. Han Shangyan left to rest first, and Tong Nian started debugging the software alone. After a while, Han Shangyan got up again after taking a nap, and came to Tong Nian. Tong Nian showed him the software she had made. Han Shangyan personally used it to measure his hand speed, and the result was as fast as 0.1 seconds, which made Tong Nian speechless in surprise. Later, Han Shangyan handed Tong Nian a can of beer. Tong Nian felt that she could not drink, but she had to drink it after being provoked by Han Shangyan. The funny thing about it was that Tong Nian's face turned red very quickly after drinking it. She kept pushing towards Han Shangyan, threw herself on him and asked him something, which made Han Shangyan immediately become surprised. The KK players outside the door secretly saw the scene inside, and they all burst into laughter. In the room, Han Shangyan was still in a state of distress, and the drunk Tong Nian still pestered Han Shangyan relentlessly. Han Shangyan had to think of an excuse to escape, but Tong Nian followed him inattentively. Han Shangyan went back to his room, but Tong Nian sneaked in behind his back and slept directly on his bed, which made Han Shangyan even more embarrassed. He had to fight hard. Finally, Tong Nian came to the living room again, and finally started to settle down a bit. Han Shangyan decided to go to the bathroom to tidy up his appearance temporarily. At this time, Tong Nian picked up a necklace in the living room and started playing with it. When Han Shangyan came to the living room, he had no choice but to say that he would give her the necklace. Tong Nian leaned against Han Shangyan's chest and soon fell into a deep sleep. Han Shangyan couldn't help reaching out to hug Tong Nian, feeling a little happy. The KK team members found an empty beer can, and they all cheerfully guessed that drinking can be just right. Maybe Tong Nian and Han Shangyan were in love right now. At this time, Han Shangyan suddenly came over and stopped them. Han Shangyan went outside to pack Tong Nian's things, then returned to his room, and asked Tong Nian a question, but Tong Nian had already fallen into a deep sleep at this time, unable to answer at all. Han Shangyan wanted her to tell him the password of her mobile phone, so that he could turn it on and find the address book, and call her friend to pick her up. But Tong Nian was still in a deep sleep. What's funny was that Han Shangyan actually took Tong Nian's mobile phone, moved close to Tong Nian's face, and pulled her eyelids away with his hand. Now, face recognition technology took effect immediately, and Tong Nian's phone finally turned on. Han Shangyan called Blueberry. Blueberry thought it was Tong Nian calling, but when she heard the voice of Han Shangyan, her eyes widened in surprise. Han Shangyan took off the necklace that Tong Nian was holding tightly to bit by bit, put it in the box again, and put it properly in her school bag. Soon, he carried her, who was unconscious, to the outside of the team. At this time, Blueberry and her husband had already driven there to pick up Tong Nian. Blueberry's husband saw his long-admired idol, Han Shangyan, and was so excited that he took a photo with him immediately. Han Shangyan carried Tong Nian and sent her to the car. During this period, Blueberry repeatedly asked him if he really fell in love with Tong Nian. However, Han Shangyan said that he should have a good time with Tong Nian, and there would always be feelings after a long time. Soon, Blueberry and the others sent Tong Nian back to her home. Han Shangyan returned to his team, feeling restless in the conference room, and he recalled the scene of getting along with Tong Nian just now. After a while, he couldn't take it anymore, and threw a manuscript out, and ordered the team members to write it again. The team members had no choice but to obediently obey his orders, and secretly wondered if it was because of Tong Nian. Han Shangyan stayed alone, feeling restless again. He recalled the scene with Tong Nian again. Not long after, he called his mother. Mother Han had entrusted him to buy her a necklace before, but Han Shangyan gave it to Tong Nian by mistake, so he had to shirk in front of Mother Han. Mother Han ordered him to give himself only 3 days to solve the problem. The next morning, Tong Nian woke up, only to find the necklace in the box. She couldn't help being very surprised. Only then did she recall what happened yesterday. She hurriedly sent a message to Han Shangyan, wanting to apologize for what happened yesterday, but Han Shangyan didn't reply to her for a long time, which made Tong Nian worried, thinking that Han Shangyan might be angry now. Han Shangyan came to Wu Bai and asked him to lend him a sum of money to buy another necklace. After all, he had already given the previous necklace to Tong Nian. Soon, Han Shangyan received another message, knowing that it was from Tong Nian. Tong Nian told him that the two of them should break up, since their relationship was fake anyway. Not long after sending the message, Tong Nian cried herself, because after all, she was really reluctant to give up this relationship. Han Shangyan hesitated for a while after receiving the news, but finally sent a message of agreement. On the other side, after putting down the phone, Tong Nian finally cried uncontrollably. Wu Bai successfully transferred a sum of money to Han Shangyan. On the other side, Tong Nian walked out of her room. Tong's father found that she had already cried, and hurriedly comforted her. Tong Nian walked with Yaya and the others in the school. Tong Nian went to the bathroom halfway, hid in the bathroom by herself and cried. Yaya walked over and found her. Only then did she know that Tong Nian had broken up in love. Tong Nian couldn't stop crying. Yaya quickly comforted her. She also said that it would be good if she could recognize a scumbag. But Tong Nian hurriedly explained that Han Shangyan was not a scumbag. Soon, Tong Nian walked out with her, went to the police station with Zheng Hui, and introduced a technology project to the police officers there in detail. Soon, Yaya and Tong Nian came to another restaurant. Tong Nian started eating and drinking because of her broken relationship, looking very absent-minded. Yaya was busy comforting her. But Tong Nian still fell into her arms and cried. In the team, Han Shangyan was training his players, but he became very sad because of what happened to Tong Nian. Su Cheng saw that something was wrong with him, and it seemed that Dai Feng also had some problems. She distributed some gifts to all the team members one by one. In the end, she handed another gift to Han Shangyan, saying that it was from Xiao Ai, and asked him to give it to Tong Nian. At night, Han Shangyan stayed alone in his room, doing hand speed tests boringly. In the end, he accidentally saw a folder Tong Nian put on the computer, and found a lot of photos of himself taken by Tong Nian. He couldn't help being very surprised, and said, "Where did Tong Nian get it?" Han Shangyan came to Dai Feng's room, only to find that Dai Feng was crying alone there, so he immediately asked. Dai Feng told him that his parents at home were divorced now, and they still didn't want him. Han Shangyan tried to comfort him, but Dai Feng turned his back and didn't want to talk to him. Han Shangyan sat down alone, took out the candy and ate it, trying to soothe his emotions. When Dai Feng saw him, he persuaded him funnily, "Don't eat so much sugar, it's easy to get diabetes." Han Shangyan couldn't help recalling that his parents divorced when he was very young, so he also felt the same way as Dai Feng. When Dai Feng heard this, his mood eased a little, and he started talking to Han Shangyan. In the team, Su Cheng told Han Shangyan that the team was going to take a promotional photo recently, so he must pay attention to it. Afterwards, Han Shangyan told Su Cheng to show her maternal love and take care of Dai Feng. After all, his parents were divorced now. Han Shangyan returned home, but Grandpa Han called him over angrily again. When Grandpa Han learned that Han Shangyan had lost Mother Han's necklace, he couldn't help being furious immediately, and asked him how he could be so careless. Could it be that he managed KK too poorly and was short of money, so he secretly sold the necklace bar? Han Shangyan had no choice but to say distressedly that he would remit the money to Mother Han soon. Han Shangyan stayed alone, feeling very bad, and now he really didn't know how to solve this problem. Before long, he showed his skills and cooked a sumptuous meal. When Grandpa Han and Wu Bai saw the dishes on the table, they couldn't help twitching their index fingers with excitement, but the funny thing was that when they tasted them carefully, they were all spicy dishes, and they couldn't help frowning. It turned out that Han Shangyan made the big meal before, just to use it to vent himself. In the restaurant, Tong Nian told Blueberry that she had broken up with Han Shangyan, which shocked Blueberry immediately. But Tong Nian said absently that the relationship between the two was fake anyway, so forget it. Tong Nian and Blueberry participated in a singer selection contest on a music platform, so they rushed to the venue excitedly, ready to apply. As a result, they happened to meet Solo there again, so they couldn't help being very surprised. Soon, they came to the person in charge of the competition, signed up, and prepared to compete with other contestants there. Soon, many contestants appeared on the stage one after another, performing their singing skills in turn. Tong Nian was the last one to appear on stage, and she was about to sing a song that she said would be given to a loved one of her own. At this time, Han Shangyan got the news and rushed over, sat on the rostrum as a judge, and said that he would let Tong Nian sing a song, "I Am a Little Donkey." Tong Nian sang by herself, very emotional, but also mixed with a lot of sad emotions. After the meeting, the judges decided to select Blueberry and Tong Nian as the selected members this time. Han Shangyan complained that Tong Nian might not be suitable for this selection, but the others still decided to give her this opportunity, and asked her and Blueberry to record a theme song for the KK team next Monday. After the meeting, Mr. Xiang, a leader of the team, sent Blueberry and Tong Nian out, told them not to forget to come and record the song next week, and said that Han Shangyan would also come then. A week later, Tong Nian came to the recording studio. She opened her voice and tried to sing a song, but she couldn't get into the role because she was not in a good mood. This made the staff there anxious, so they had to announce that they would stop for a while. Blueberry walked in and told her not to pay too much attention. After all, if Han Shangyan didn't come, she would have to record the song well. But Tong Nian was still depressed at this moment. Soon, a new round of song recording started again, and Blueberry was by her side in person, so as to provide her with confidence. Tong Nian thought of Han Shangyan again. Soon she stopped thinking so much, and began to sing the tune with all her strength, and the scene suddenly became extremely enthusiastic. Han Shangyan had actually arrived silently at this time, but he didn't show up from the beginning to the end. Han Shangyan came to the front desk downstairs again, and exchanged 100 coins with the waiter there. After that, he came back again. At this time, Tong Nian was singing hard. Solo also came at this time, watching all this with admiration. Tong Nian was playing very well at this time. Tong Nian and the others were done. Everyone found that there were a lot of drinks on the table, and others told them that a handsome guy from outside bought the drinks for them from the juice machine in exchange for 100 coins. Blueberry didn't understand why the bottle seemed to have a confession written on it. Tong Nian immediately realized that it was written by Han Shangyan, and rushed out in a hurry, but Han Shangyan had long since disappeared. Han Shangyan returned to the team lonely, restless. When he woke up the next morning, Aunt Zhao thought he was ill, so she gave him a lot of condolences. Han Shangyan came outside and asked Wu Bai to help him drive his car to Jiaodong University and fill up the gas. Afterwards, he instructed Su Cheng to send him the monthly subsidy from the team. Su Cheng was puzzled and asked why he would be interested in this small sum of money. Didn't he never ask for it before? Han Shangyan told her that he had lost his stepmother's necklace before, which was why this economic crisis started. Tong Nian was once again troubled by the matter of Han Shangyan, and Blueberry asked Mr. Xiang about the love history of Han Shangyan for her. Mr. Xiang said that Han Shangyan had never had any girlfriends. However, Mr. Xiang recalled that Han Shangyan had found a girlfriend again during this period of time. Blueberry and Tong Nian thought that Han Shangyan found another woman after breaking up with Tong Nian. Tong Nian was depressed, while Blueberry was a little aggrieved, saying how Han Shangyan found someone else so quickly after breaking up with Tong Nian. In the room, Grandpa Han asked Wu Bai strangely, saying why Tong Nian hadn't come recently, what's wrong? However, Wu Bai hesitated to answer. At this time, Han Shangyan just came down from upstairs. Grandpa Han hurriedly said to him, let him bring Tong Nian back quickly, after all, today was Tong Nian's birthday. Han Shangyan evaded and didn't want to answer. Grandpa Han said dissatisfiedly, how could he be so disinterested in Tong Nian? After all, Tong Nian was a very good girl. Grandpa Han told him angrily again that if he didn't pick up Tong Nian, he would never eat again. But Han Shangyan didn't want to hear it. Seeing that this trick didn't work, Grandpa Han resorted to his old trick again, pretending to have a heart attack, but Han Shangyan saw through him at a glance. In the end, Han Shangyan felt that he didn't want to fight anymore, so he had to say that he was willing to pick up Tong Nian immediately, but he had to let Wu Bai accompany him. Ai Ching said that she thought that the person Han Shangyan really loved was Tong Nian, which made Tong Nian very happy immediately after hearing this. Ai Ching told Tong Nian that she was very grateful to her. After all, Han Shangyan had always been a very stubborn person. If Tong Nian was not by his side, she really didn't know who could take care of him. Tong Nian came to Han Shangyan's window and asked him in sign language if the training was hard. Han Shangyan answered briefly, and Tong Nian said in sign language again, that he must have suffered from heat stroke in such a hot weather. Soon, Tong Nian went outside to buy a coconut, came to the door of Han Shangyan's training room, and said that she would give it to him to eat. Han Shangyan saw it, and quickly reprimanded her, saying how could she come to him during training time. But when he took Tong Nian's coconut and drank it, he thought it was delicious. The people in the room secretly looked at the sweet appearance of the two of them, secretly delighted. Tong Nian handed him some fruits, saying that they were for the team members. When Tong Nian came to the beach to play, she met Xiaomi and Solo. Xiaomi ran to buy drinks. Solo asked Tong Nian with concern. When she sang the song Little Donkey, he thought she was very sad. Could it be that she had a conflict with Han Shangyan? After that, Solo talked about his experience of getting acquainted with Han Shangyan in his early years. Soon, Xiaomi returned and handed some drinks to Tong Nian. At this time, Han Shangyan also came, and blamed Tong Nian that how could she drink. But Xiaomi said that what he brought was just some low-alcohol drinks. Han Shangyan told Xiaomi that he wanted to talk to him about something in a few days. Xiaomi was invited to meet with Han Shangyan, and Han Shangyan asked Xiaomi to come to his KK team again. However, Xiaomi mocked himself and said that his level was very poor, so how could he be worthy of Han Shangyan to pay for himself? Han Shangyan continued to lobby, but Xiaomi said that he really didn't want to talk to him anymore. Zhou Shan and Tong Nian had dinner together, and she presumptuously called Han Shangyan her family as soon as she opened her mouth. Tong Nian told Zhou Shan that she and Han Shangyan were already boyfriend and girlfriend. But Zhou Shan didn't give up, and said confidently, if Han Shangyan hadn't retired back then and she had stayed by his side, maybe Han Shangyan would have succeeded by now. In addition, Zhou Shan said sarcastically that although some people had come together with Han Shangyan, after all, the fate was short-lived and destined not to last long. In fact, she was talking about Tong Nian. Tong Nian was not happy when she heard that. She immediately went to chase away some flies with her chopsticks, and said that these flies were really annoying, so she satirized Zhou Shan. As soon as Zhou Shan heard it, she knew that Tong Nian was making fun of her. But she still said stubbornly that she still felt that Han Shangyan was not very suitable for Tong Nian. At this moment, Han Shangyan came and said that what Zhou Shan had prepared for Tong Nian was really a hongmen banquet. Tong Nian could only enjoy herself if she turned around and faced him. Zhou Shan felt bored and left. Tong Nian found that Han Shangyan was wet, and then realized that he was worried about her, and came over without even holding an umbrella. She couldn't help but felt very happy. Su Cheng and Solo were talking in a grove. Su Cheng said that Solo was her first love, the only person she ever loved. Later, after she broke up with him, she gave birth to Xiao Ai because she loved him so much. But Solo said, all these were over. Su Cheng asked Solo to give her a chance to have the custody right and let her take care of Xiao Ai. After all, Xiao Ai was just a girl, and as a father, Solo could not take good care of Xiao Ai. Solo hesitated for a while, and said to let himself think again. Xiaomi found Solo and told him that Han Shangyan had approached him before and asked him to join KK. Solo asked him what his choice was. Xiaomi told him that he was not a person who would choose to escape, so why would he join KK at this juncture? Tong Nian asked Han Shangyan what happened to Xiao Ai's parents. Han Shangyan said that after Su Cheng broke up with Solo, she secretly gave birth to Xiao Ai behind Solo's back. Later, Su Cheng and Solo officially divorced, and Solo took Xiao Ai away to raise her independently. Afterwards, Han Shangyan and Tong Nian came to the pool, admiring a dolphin excitedly. Han Shangyan fell asleep alone. Tong Nian secretly sent Yaya a message. Yaya repeatedly asked Tong Nian to sleep in separate rooms with Han Shangyan. After all, the two of them had just started dating. Putting down the phone, Han Shangyan woke up again, ready to say goodnight to Tong Nian, but before leaving, he gave Tong Nian a room card of his own room, so that she could communicate with him conveniently in the future. The next day, Han Shangyan stayed in the training room to train the players. He used his mobile phone to find that Tong Nian had stayed in the hotel all day without going out, and he immediately asked Ling Shan what happened to Tong Nian, and what could she do if she stayed in a room all day. Ling Shan said that since he thought about Tong Nian so much, he might as well get off work and find Tong Nian now. Han Shangyan left the team and returned to the hotel. He just walked to Tong Nian's door and wanted to knock on it, but felt something was wrong. So, he retreated back to his room, picked up his phone and asked Tong Nian that he wanted to see her. When Tong Nian heard this, she immediately agreed happily. When the two came to a fish tank, Tong Nian funnily imitated the movements of a fish, which made Han Shangyan find it very funny. Tong Nian told Han Shangyan that she was preparing to give him a gift recently, but she couldn't tell him for the time being due to the need for confidentiality. Han Shangyan suggested that since Tong Nian would stay in the hotel every day anyway, why not she went to the team's training room with him the next day. This made Tong Nian happy immediately. Han Shangyan told Wu Bai that he had invited Xiaomi to join the KK team, but unfortunately he refused. Wu Bai asked Han Shangyan whether he wanted his team to win the final championship, or SP to win it. He didn't really want to help the SP team, did he? However, Han Shangyan said that he had already made his decision, and he didn't need him to teach him a lesson. The members of the KK team ran together on the beach. Tong Nian recalled to Han Shangyan that she used to like exercising very much, which made her body better and grow taller. At this time, the team members walked past them again, and they shouted loudly, claiming that they must let KK win the championship. When Tong Nian came to the training room, Ling Shan looked at her, chatted with her secretly, and happily asked how she and Han Shangyan met. Han Shangyan rushed over at this time, and immediately reprimanded him with a cold face. Zhou Shan came to the training room, and Tong Nian asked Han Shangyan dissatisfiedly whether Zhou Shan came every day. Han Shangyan gave an affirmative answer, and said that he still had many occasions to get along with Zhou Shan. This made Tong Nian immediately unhappy when she heard it, but thinking that this was all work, she became helpless. Tong Nian was sitting on the outdoor table. Han Shangyan walked over, and Tong Nian chatted with him about artificial intelligence. She also said that her job was to use face recognition technology to facilitate criminal investigation. Even if the prisoner escaped, he would be quickly found out by face recognition technology. Tong Nian said that she wanted to know more about Han Shangyan. After hearing this, Han Shangyan took her to the training room, organized a match with Ling Shan face to face, and fought fiercely with him. Ling Shan knew that he was invincible, but he had no choice but to hastily fight. Tong Nian said happily that she finally had the opportunity to witness her idol compete in person. After a while, Han Shangyan defeated Ling Shan. This opened the eyes of the team members to the level of Han Shangyan. In the evening, Han Shangyan and Tong Nian had dinner together, and Han Shangyan started chewing hungrily. He also told Tong Nian that he would never pick too much when eating for the sake of competition. Zhou Shan gathered many team members together and told them that a game would be organized this time, and in the end, only 5 people were cruelly selected as the winners. The assistant sent the photos one by one, and wanted the players to draw their opponents. People from KK and SP matched up one by one, ready for a duel. Soon, the people on both sides were sitting in front of the computer, and they were ready. Not long after the fight, Shenjia and Oh Chang defeated their opponents one by one, and other team members were also fighting fiercely, winning and losing each other. The assistant wrote the list of winners on the blackboard one by one. After a fierce competition, Zhou Shan announced the list of all the winners of the duel, and Wu Bai's name was also among the winners. Tong Nian and Han Shangyan stayed in the yard, and the KK players walked by. Han Shangyan said dissatisfiedly that their grades were too poor, how could they lose to SP? The team members said unconvinced that Shenjia and Wu Bai still beat their opponents. However, the ruthless Han Shangyan still punished them face to do push-ups. During the period, Han Shangyan asked Tong Nian about artificial intelligence. Tong Nian told him that artificial intelligence could also be used in the medical field, and it can do a lot. Not long after, the SP teams who passed by, feeling the heat, took off their clothes and fled into the water one after another, playing. In the evening, Han Shangyan was about to say goodbye to Tong Nian. He said that he still had 2 meetings after 10 o'clock. Tong Nian said that he worked hard. She was reluctant to leave Han Shangyan. Han Shangyan said, if this was the case, then he could take her to work with him. After hearing this, Tong Nian immediately followed up happily. In the room, Han Shangyan put on headphones for work, and Tong Nian asked him puzzledly why he had to wear it every time he worked. Han Shangyan put the earphones on her head, saying that the voice inside could help people to work. Tong Nian tried to listen to it, and really felt that the rhythm inside was very helpful to people's work. Soon, Tong Nian fell asleep on the chair alone. Han Shangyan stroked Tong Nian's hair, feeling very warm. After a while, Tong Nian woke up again. Tong Nian went back to her room to pack up her things, came back out again, boarded the bus with Han Shangyan and the others, and went to the outskirts for training. In the car, Tong Nian fiddled with her computer, doing something mysterious. The KK team members came to a big mountain, and Han Shangyan told them to get into training immediately, and all the team members cried out. After all, Han Shangyan had not stopped training them, which was too hard. Ling Shan even took the lead in raising difficulties, saying that the training method of Han's Heng dialect was too unbearable. At this time, Han Shangyan recalled Ling Shan's previous training, and his words contained great expectations for Ling Shan. Ling Shan felt guilty when he heard this, and immediately recognized his mistake, and quickly started training with the team members. Tong Nian showed Han Shangyan a game she made, saying that she had made it for 2 nights and specially gave it to him. Han Shangyan was very surprised when he saw this, and said that Tong Nian had paid so much, why did she make a game for him? But after speaking, he was very moved again, and immediately closed his eyes, wanting to kiss Tong Nian. But at this time, the noise of the nearby players came over and interrupted them. Tong Nian and Han Shangyan came to a very high wooden bridge together, but Han Shangyan couldn't go on when he got halfway. Now Tong Nian was very proud, and shouted loudly into the distance. Now she knew that the biggest weakness of Han Shangyan was that he was afraid of heights. Han Shangyan couldn't take it anymore at this time. He just ignored Tong Nian and ran towards the end of the wooden bridge by himself, looking very embarrassed. Tong Nian packed up her things and was about to leave Sonia. Han Shangyan sent her to the car, and Tong Nian reluctantly said goodbye to him. Soon, Tong Nian finally returned to school. Not long after returning to school, she hurriedly sent a message of concern to Han Shangyan. Yaya walked over at this time, and Tong Nian said that she had already made a boyfriend. Yaya asked anxiously, "Who was it then?" Tong Nian began to talk like a tongue twister, saying that she broke up with a man first, and then got back together soon. Only then did Yaya realize that it was the same man that Tong Nian had been talking to her for so long. Tong Nian didn't want to talk to her and left. Yaya hilariously imagined herself, what kind of person was Tong Nian's boyfriend? In her imagination, she actually imagined Han Shangyan as a big fat man. At the hotel in Sanya, Zhou Shan surrounded Han Shangyan again and struck up a conversation with him, but Han Shangyan didn't want to talk to her at all, and left by himself. In the school dormitory, Yaya asked about Tong Nian's boyfriend again. Tong Nian couldn't take it anymore, so she had to talk to her directly about Han Shangyan. She told Yaya that the boyfriend she knew was a champion of the cybersecurity competition. Yaya didn't believe it at all. Soon, Tong Nian sat in front of the computer with her and showed her the information of Shenzhe, Lingshan and others. This made Yaya's eyes widen in shock. After all Tong Nian showed to her were famous people. Xiaomi told Yaya that after retiring in the past few years, he had been staying at home, so he could be regarded as dawdling. Yaya asked him why he didn't try to compete again. However, Xiaomi said that after the disbandment of the solo team, he no longer had the idea of fighting, but recently Solo and the others reorganized the team, so he decided to try again. During the chat, Yaya showed Xiaomi the information in her mobile phone, saying that many fans had been following him for so many years. In the living room, Han Shangyan played a racing game with Xiaomi and others, and they soon had a great time. Before long, they packed up their things and went outside for a picnic. Tong Nian sent the food she had prepared to Han Shangyan, but Han Shangyan ate it without even looking at it. Tong Nian asked Han Shangyan what his wish was. Han Shangyan was about to answer, but Tong Nian answered for him first, saying that his wish was only to help KK win the World Championship. But she wanted to tell him that she hoped he could relax and leave more space for himself. Then, she held Han Shangyan's hand tightly, and the two closed their eyes together, feeling everything in front of them. Han Shangyan felt an unprecedented relaxation at this time. Tong Nian was sent back to school by Han Shangyan. Before parting, Tong Nian put the necklace she received from Han Shangyan on her hand, and asked if the necklace was expensive. But Han Shangyan said that it was just a stall. Han Shangyan drove Xiaomi and Oh Chang to the door of the SP team. Before leaving, Xiaomi and the others said that if Han Shangyan still wanted to play with them in the future, they would welcome him anytime. Zheng Hui's mother was sick and was about to be hospitalized. Tong Nian told him not to worry, and she would immediately find her father Tong, who was good at medicine, to help him. Do Nan's mother who stayed in the house, chatting with Mother Tong. She sighed and said that she had already found out that Han Shangyan lost his mother when he was a child, and later lost his father. It was his stepmother who raised him. In addition, when she learned that Han Shangyan and Tong Nian were talking about their relationship, she was a little anxious for Tong Nian. After all, Tong Nian was probably deceived by Han Shangyan. Zheng Hui met Father Tong. Tong Nian privately sent a message to Father Tong, saying that Zheng Hui's family was very poor, so he must take Zheng Hui to live at their house. Father Tong heard this, and immediately told Zheng Hui that he planned to take his family to live at home, and help his mother to treat her illness. After hearing this, Zheng Hui immediately burst into tears of gratitude. Soon, Zheng Hui and others came to Tong Nian's house with their luggage, planning to stay here. Mother Tong welcomed them happily. Mother Tong found Tong Nian and asked her privately that Zheng Hui should be a good child. In fact, she just wanted to match Tong Nian and Zheng Hui. Seeing that Mother Tong was very satisfied with Zheng Hui, Tong Nian asked her again what if she liked Han Shangyan. Mother Tong bluntly said that she didn't like him. After all, Han Shangyan left her with a bad impression before. Yaya chatted with Tong Nian, and Tong Nian said distressedly that Han Shangyan was too pitiful, and many people, including Mother Tong, disliked him. If possible, she hoped to buy the whole world and give it to Han Shangyan. That would be better for him. Xiaomi told Solo to stop working hard for him, after all he knew his level was poor. But Solo said that it was his duty to serve him. Xiaomi asked Solo when he would be transferred to the second team, and Solo said that after the next game, he would be exchanged with the captain of the second team. Yaya found an excuse to communicate with Xiaomi, but in fact she just wanted to invite Xiaomi to have dinner. In the KK team, Han Shangyan and Shenzhe had a match, but Shenzhe was quickly defeated. Han Shangyan said that Shenzhe would be responsible for all the hygiene of the team in the next week. Ling Shan came over at this time and told Han Shangyan that Tong Nian had come outside. Han Shangyan came to Tong Nian, and Tong Nian packed up a box and carried it upstairs mysteriously. When she came to Han Shangyan's room, Tong Nian revealed her box. It turned out that there was a pet cat hidden in it. And Tong Nian said that she planned to give it to Han Shangyan. Han Shangyan had no intention of accepting it, but at Tong Nian's insistence, he had no choice but to accept it. Tong Nian was about to leave the room, but Shenzhe and the others surrounded outside. Tong Nian was frightened and hid in Han Shangyan's arms. Everyone laughed. Tong Nian also felt very happy. Tong Nian was about to leave, and before she left, she told Han Shangyan not to forget to open a letter she left in the box. Han Shangyan returned to his room and opened the letter. At this time, Tong Nian had already written some messages of her own in it, and also attached a few photos of Han Shangyan getting along with his teammates back then. This made Han Shangyan couldn't help thinking back to the past. Xiaomi came outside the university to find Yaya. After Yaya found him, she was anxious, saying how could she deserve to meet an idol with such a bad complexion. So she hurried back to her dormitory and started to make up. Soon, she was finally ready, so she put away her things and hurried to Xiaomi. At this time, she was out of breath. Seeing her like this, Xiaomi immediately fell in love with her. Xiaomi told Yaya that he could go to the cafeteria with her. After all, he really wanted to relive his time in college. The two came to the cafeteria, ordered food, and Yaya was going to get some more food, but Xiaomi thought it was too much, and grabbed her. At this moment, the two looked at each other, and their hearts rose. And there was a burst of warmth. After dinner, Yaya and Xiaomi walked in the campus together. Xiaomi inadvertently mentioned that he was the champion of long-distance running in school, which made Yaya excited immediately, and said that she would send this news to Moments immediately. Xiaomi stopped her, but at this moment, the two held hands together again, and their affection gradually grew. During the chat, Xiaomi gave Yaya one of his game tickets. This made Yaya almost jumped up excitedly.